Hi guys, and welcome to Car Focused. And this time around I am in a 2017 Fiesta ST 200. So I'd just like to give a shout out to TC Harrison Ford in Peterborough for lending me this ST 200. It's currently their demo vehicle. If you want to go and take a test drive of it, check out their website. I'll put a link in the description below. I'm really excited to be in this car because it's been a while since I've been in a Fiesta ST, probably nearly a year ago now. So obviously, having driven the RS every day since March, it's great to get back in one of these and just to experience how fun they are once again. So this car, obviously it's a Fiesta ST 200. Now, what makes this different to a normal ST is, first of all, on the exterior, you've got the Storm Grey paintwork, which is exclusive to this model, which looks really cool. You also have the same alloy wheels, but they're sprayed in black and they're diamond cut on the edges, just to make the sort of edges stand out nicely, which also look really good. And that's pretty much it for the exterior. Inside you get black Recaros, half leather with white and red stitching, and then with these seat belts you have some silver trimming on the edges, and then on the inside we've got an ST200 emblem or logo just above where the heated seat buttons are. So that's pretty much it visually. Now, there have been changes made to the engine and the drivetrain and suspension systems. Now the engine, effectively, this car is now running the MP215 upgrade as standard, so it's very similar in that you get the 215 brake horsepower on overboost and 236 pound-foot of torque on overboost as well. Standard form, you're running about 200 brake horsepower, whereas in the normal ST you're running about 180 and then 200 on overboost. So it's effectively a stage 1 map already loaded onto the car in the factory when it's made. Now I have stressed before that that map does finish the car off, it completes the car. So with this car you're buying the kind of finished product how it should have come out of the factory in the first place, obviously with the additional visual value as well. Now numbers, I've looked on howmanyleft.com and there's roughly around 745 of these on the road. Now that's quite good considering they've actually stopped building these cars now the drive is onto the new Fiesta. Those numbers are only going to rise with the cars that dealers have on order or have as demos that will be sold in the near future. So hopefully there won't be many more than 1,000 on the roads in the UK, which is going to make it quite an exclusive car and also potentially quite a good investment. Now these cars retail at around £22,000. That is a few £1,000s extra than an ST3. Now you may ask yourself the question, is it worth the extra money? If you mount tuned your ST3, you're going to have all the same luxuries, etc., just minus the wheels and the paintwork and minus the exclusivity, but the way it drives and performs will be exactly the same. So you need to ask yourself the question, is it worth the extra money? And I think it just depends on your circumstance. If you want to have the kind of exclusivity and pay the extra and maybe have a bit more equity in the car later on down the line, or if you're not too fussed and you just want a fast, fun car and you decide to go for the ST3. So it's completely up to you. As I was saying about the performance upgrade on this car, they've also softened the suspension and the dampers slightly and stiffened the rear torsion beam and front anti-roll bar, so I believe, just to try and increase the handling. And also the gear ratios have been shortened to give a 0 to 60 time of 6.7 compared to the standard 6.9, and also increase the top speed from 139 to 143 miles an hour. Now the gear ratios and the suspension, what a lot of people don't actually know is this modification was actually rolled out onto all of the Fiesta STs towards the end of production. If you have a later normal ST, the chances are your car already has that pre-fitted. So the shorter ratios, softer suspension and dampers, and the stiffer rear torsion beam and the front anti-roll bars. So let's quickly talk about the standard features you get on this car. So if we start on the outside of the car, obviously I've mentioned the paint, the alloys. You get your daytime running lights, you get your keyless entry, you get rear parking sensors, you get a reverse camera, obviously you get your standard ST body kit with spoiler, side skirts, nice front bumper, diffuser, twin exhaust pipes at the back. You also get sat-nav, DAB radio, cruise control, auto lights, auto wipers, power fold wing mirrors, a 2-stage boot floor as well, so you can fold the seats down and have the boot floor flush. And you get your Recaro bucket seats, which have been a firm favourite in the ST for a while now, for a good few years. Your centre armrest, and that's pretty much it really. Everything else is pretty much standard Fiesta, heated front screen, etc. But no, so it's a well kitted out little car. The only negative thing is now, with regards to the inside of this car, is this layout is getting on for, it's probably nearly 10 years old now, I'd say. Since this Mark 7 Fiesta was launched, this dashboard has been around for quite a while and it's starting to show its age, particularly the infotainment system. It's quite a messy system now, there's a lot of buttons. It's got the original sync system in it, which is getting on a bit compared to obviously sync 2 and 3. And the screen is very small, it's probably about 4 inches, which in this day and age kind of doesn't quite cut it now. Most screens are kind of 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches, and it's not touchscreen. You have to control it with the buttons on the stereo fascia. Another negative thing I've also remembered about this car is the seat belt. It's really kind of far back because you're sat in these big seats, and if you're short like me and you sit a bit far forward, trying to grab the seat belt when you first get in is a bit of a pain. But there's not really any other negatives I can think of with this car. So the very few negatives there are with this car are soon forgotten about when you get behind the wheel and you start to push this car on a back road, because this car is amazing and I literally forgot how fun it is. Oh my god, it's so fun! And this smile isn't even fake, I promise you. This car, the only way I can describe this car is road legal go-kart. It's just superb. Jesus. I mean, the RS is fun, but this car is, because it's so small, you just feel so connected to it. The car just wants to work with you. When you're taking corners, you're like the centre of the car, and the car just works around you. It's a really good feeling, and it's just so nimble and so light. And the power, it doesn't have heaps of power, it has enough power just to be able to put it all down and have fun. Whereas with the RS, sometimes it can be a little bit of a handful, particularly on twisty roads. As fun and good handling as it is, you can't quite use all of the power, whereas this, you can put it all down and it's amazing. You've got the sound imposer, so pumping in a bit of extra sound through the cabin. As you can hear there, some don't like it, but I just think it adds to the driving experience. God, I can't say how many more times how fun this car is. So the electrically assisted steering is really on point, really easy to manage. Although it is quite light, you do kind of feel the connection to the road, which is good. Some of these electric systems nowadays can kind of leave the feeling a bit bland, but this feels very connected, very good. The brakes, discs all round, very effective. Don't know how they perform on a long run, probably will fade after a while, but for a quick plat, they're very good at stopping the car from a high speed. Turn-in is pinpoint precision. The car just goes wherever you want it to go. There's no kind of hesitation, the car isn't kind of thinking about it before you turn in. It's just doing exactly what you want it to do. And also, if you take a corner at the kind of correct speed, you can sometimes cock the back wheel up, and that's that feeling I was saying about the car pivoting around the body. It just lifts a little back wheel up, bit of lift off, oversteer. So acceleration, 3,000 revs, 30 miles an hour, accelerate. Little tiny bit of torque steer. You can change gears so quickly in this. It's amazing, it really is amazing. Such fun. And we got to the speed limit quite comfortably there. I think the slogan for this car should be Fiesta ST 200, bringing the children out of grown men. That'd be spot on. So effectively this ST200 is kind of the sort of last hurrah for the Mark 7 Fiesta, and it finishes off the range basically, and it does it very well. Fiesta ST has been a great car over the past few years. Since it was released in late 2012, it's basically been the benchmark for a super mini, and it's consistently, even today, still winning Car of the Year awards, Best Small Hatch awards, Most Fun, you know, it's still winning these things kind of all these years later, and that says something about this car. It says something about how good this car is, that it's still fending off more modern competition. And that's why I kind of think the Mark 8 Fiesta, it has a lot to live up to. But I don't think Ford are going to make a car that's worse than this one. I know it is a tall order, but I do think a lot is going to have gone into the new ST, and I think that we need to give it a chance. Now the proof is in the pudding, and when it does come along, hopefully I will get to have a drive and I can compare it to this. But this is a fantastic car, and if you're considering getting one, as I always say, don't be afraid to call up your local Ford dealership, get yourself booked in for a test drive, and I can guarantee you that you will enjoy this car. So, final thoughts. It really doesn't disappoint. It really is brilliant. Now, would I personally pay in the region of 22,000 for this car? Bearing in mind I paid 16, just over 16 for my ST2 when it was 6 months old, and then add on the, I think it was £600 for the mount tune kit, it still makes it considerably cheaper. So I don't really know if I'd personally spend the extra on the 200, but I can see the appeal with such limited numbers, and it being quite different to the standard ST. I can see the appeal. And I do think that one of these is going to be worth quite a bit more than a normal ST in years to come. If I had the money, I probably would do it, and I'd keep it standard, keep it for a good few years, and then just see how much I'd get for it down the line. Because we all know that limited edition Fords, they do tend to command a premium. Final thought of this car is, it's absolutely brilliant. Highly recommend it if you're considering buying one. Get yourself down to a dealer. As I say, this is at TC Harrison Ford if you want to go and give it a drive. And just see how you go. And if you can't quite stretch to the ST200, then always consider ST2, ST3 and add on the mount tune kit. So yeah, that's it from me guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please comment in the comments box below your thoughts on this car, if you enjoyed the review, and you know, what other sort of vehicles you'd like to see in the future. But it's been a blast as always guys. Take care, and until the next video, I'll see you soon.